Your adventurers are walking through the woods. The paladin stops and says, I sense a great evil near us. He points to the wizard. The wizard looks at him, nods, floats above the treetops, and scans the surrounding area. Immediately, his eyes widen and he says, Over there! I see something, and then darts off immediately. The rest of his players chase after him. They find themselves now in an open field with scorched earth and ash everywhere. Everyone begins to choke. The wizard begins to lose concentration on his spell and begins to descend softly towards the ground. Immediately, once the wizard finds purchase on the ground, it starts to shake and rumble. The earth cracks in front of them, splitting the party in two. A fire elemental immediately erupts out of the ground and begins to shake every person to their core. The wizard casts Comprehend All Languages, and he hears, What are you doing here? Speak your mind before I incinerate you. You have just entered into Princes of the Apocalypse, the elemental evil. Welcome. My name is Bo, and today we're going to be talking about the Princes of the Apocalypse. We're going to be explaining how to run this campaign in such a way that it will be compelling for your players and it'll be exciting for the Dungeon Master. There's going to be a lot covered here, so sit back, relax, and let's have some fun. What is the Princes of the Apocalypse? It is a campaign that is in the northwest corner of Faerun. It is in an area called the Destron Valley, and more specifically is in an area called Red Larch. Now, we're not going to get into the name of the town or the section of the world of the Destron Valley. Well, that is another topic for another time, but what I do want to discuss is what is the problem here in the Destron Valley. 4 different cults are trying to summon their own prince to usher in the new age of destruction for the entire world of Faerun. Now, why would they even start up in an area like this? It is out in the middle of nowhere. No one cares about them. They're far enough away from major populated areas that no one is going to stop what they are doing. And because they're so far away from everything, they can kind of softly influence the town itself of Red Larch, trying to coax them into possibly joining their cult, whether it's the air cult, the water cult, the earth, or the fire. The campaign setting is from levels 1 to 15, or maybe even a little bit higher. The first chapter describes the background of what this area is about, the 4 different cults, and the 5 different factions that kind of have their own influence in this area, though very slim to almost nothing. What the Dungeon Master is going to want to kind of keep in mind is to constantly reinforce that, 1, the 5 different factions that are the Harpers, the Lord's Alliance, the Zatharum, the Emerald Enclave, as well as the Order of the Gauntlet. These 5 different factions help breathe life into a seeming distant area that no one is really paying attention to. The 25 or so NPCs that your players are going to interact with are also very much alive. They have their own wants and needs. They want a specific thing, and they also want to become a little bit more powerful or more wealthy. They want to make things a little bit better for themselves, and that's even that much more important. The next chapter is talking about the small little plot hooks that the area is all about. The problems that are in specific buildings or specific areas. You move into Chapter 6, which gives your players a chance to move from level 1 to level 3. And that gives your players a chance to actually start moving down underground and start moving through these humongous dungeons. Now let's talk about those dungeons that your players are going to be going into. They are 25 rooms large. Now you maybe you're an experienced dungeon master, and that's going to help you out with keeping yourself and your players engaged in this campaign. You may not be a fully experienced dungeon master that knows how to put together a 25-room dungeon that is compelling for your players. So let's talk about that for a second. The first way to do this is to make the dungeons a little bit less lively. You don't have to have all these wandering monsters. You don't have to have every piece of loot or item that is inside each room readily available to them. You can take that out and put that in the city or in the village of Red Larch. You can combine them and put them in another dungeon or another part of that dungeon to combine all of it. So when you get to a spot, you can kind of speed things up and move them along. Here's this, this, and this, rather than room 1, 1 item or 2 items. Room 5, 1 item or 2 items. You can have room 6 that has 6 or 7 items that kind of move that story along. You can also cut it down into very important rooms, but have that dungeon 1 or 2 or maybe even 4 rooms per session. That makes it a very manageable, bite-sized thing that's going to give you about 4 or 5 hours worth of content. So then each player can have their own time, their own way of moving themselves through the dungeon without burning themselves out. Because this is going to be a 5 dungeon scenario that you're going to find yourselves going from one dungeon to the next dungeon to the next dungeon, and you have no idea that this could take weeks, if not months, to actually complete. So take your time. Do it the way that you want to do it. Ask your players, how do they want to proceed with each one of these dungeons? Do they want to make this a long, drawn-out system? Or do you want them to be like, how fast do you want to get through this? And that's something that you're going to want to be upfront with your players, because the worst thing that you can do as a dungeon master is not communicate any of the expectations that you have with this module, as well as what they think they're getting themselves into. If they are expecting something from you, try to deliver as close to that as possible, because there's nothing worse than sitting at the table not knowing what is going to be happening or how long this is going to take. Now, you don't need to give them the full story, but give them pieces. Hey, this is a large dungeon. This could take a long time, or you could say, this is an extremely large set of dungeons. Do you want to make this a 4 dungeon a night system, or do you want to quickly move from place to place to place, getting this done before the end of the month? Maybe you can go at it with asking each person individually, or have it a group discussion. When you start moving through the dungeons, you're going to find that each cult has their own agenda. They might all be working towards the same goal of bringing destruction to the world, but when you start giving your players that victory upon victory, the cults that are remaining are either going to attack the players outright, or they're going to attack the things that they love. Take it how Vecna in the game Critical Role did. He went after the people that your players love. If you show that there is something that they cherish being taken away from them while they're down in a dungeon, they're going to want to exact revenge on whoever it was. Or even better, one of the players or one of the NPCs that they are fighting, have them escape in a dramatic fashion, so they're chasing this one individual from dungeon to dungeon, or from building to building, or from area of, the Destron Valley to another area inside the Destron Valley. And finally, you can give this campaign its own breath by having this not just a campaign of the elemental evils. It can be one of a part of many different problems that are going on in the world. You don't have to use all 4 dungeons or all 5 to complete this story. You can cut it in half or cut it into a quarter and use just one section as your stepping stone to your own world that you're building yourself. This can be an amazing adventure. Let's have fun with it. Let's dive even deeper. Give these dungeons a life of their own. The fire cultists have ash, and it's hot in there all the time. It's hard to breathe. Or in the water cult, have that dungeon constantly wet. Of the earth cult being crushed under rocks, or being trapped by the earth cultists blocking off an area. You can have the wind cult being exposed to the winds of freezing cold. Or there is nothing more boring than going into one dungeon and saying, oh, it's exactly the same as the last one. No one wants to do that. Make this dungeon, or make these dungeons, their own life. Have an idea of what your players are going to want, as well as what do you want to get out of this campaign yourself as being a dungeon master. Most of all, have fun with it. This is one of the better campaigns that have been written out by Wizards of the Coast. They have worked really hard to put together very detailed and very colorful maps and colorful characters that the players are going to meet. So until next time, have fun adventuring.